you have to get out. And get out fast. The last emergency broadcast you saw stated that residents should evacuate in a northerly direction. Your heart races as you and your family grab your bug-out bags and scramble into your bug-out vehicle. All around you, your neighborhood is in a chaotic frenzy. People are shouting, scrambling, and panic is palpable in the air. You remember the sneers from your immediate neighbor, mocking you for being a prepper. Well, who's laughing now? This is the first time a mass evacuation has been called, and danger looms ominously, approaching faster than you ever imagined. You start up the car, silently thanking your lucky stars that you serviced the vehicle's air conditioning system. The morning sun is already blazing hot, intensifying the urgency of your escape. It's going to be a long, hot, and grueling drive to reach safety. You put the car into reverse. Just as you are about to reverse, a sudden realization grips you like a vice. Sweat beads suddenly appear on your forehead, your chest tightens, you grip the steering wheel as if you want to choke it. You can hear your heart pounding in your ears. You struggle to catch your breath. Your family looks at you with worried expressions, mirroring the fear and uncertainty that churns in your gut. Panic begins to claw its way up your spine like a giant tarantula closing in on its prey. They said to evacuate in a northerly direction. But which way is north? As a prepper, understanding the basics of direction is essential for ensuring your safety and enhancing your survivability factor. Here, a compass is usually the go-to instrument for determining direction. While some may think of a compass as a complicated gadget, mastering its use is simpler than it seems and can significantly aid your navigation skills. But, before delving into compass basics, let's begin with a fundamental but often overlooked tool, the sky. Since ancient times, the sun, moon, and stars have guided travelers. Individually, these objects in the sky can offer a general sense of direction with just a glance. Depending on whether you're in the northern hemisphere or in the southern hemisphere, using the sun's movement is one of the easiest ways to determine direction. The simple general rule of the sun is that it rises in the east and sets in the west. The difference, however, is that in the northern hemisphere, during the day, the sun travels in an arc across the southern part of the sky, and in the southern hemisphere, its daytime arc is in the northern part of the sky. This means that if you live in the northern hemisphere, whenever you face the sun as it makes its daytime arc from east to west, you will be facing south. Or, if you live in the southern hemisphere and face the sun as it moves from east to west, you will be facing north. To visualize the cardinal directions using the sun, imagine a circle with north, south, east, and west equally divided into quadrants. Facing the sun as it rises from the east, point your right arm towards the sun, and then create a L shape with your left arm. This forms a 90-degree angle and your left arm will indicate north. Reversing this angle and pivoting your arms clockwise with your left arm towards the sun, will then make your right arm point towards south. And then further turning your body clockwise with your arm still held up in the L shape, will now align your right arm to point towards the west. To aid in direction tracking, and to imprint this bearing in your memory, use landmarks to mark these cardinal points in your head, or create a mental map by drawing cardinal points on paper and noting the significant landmarks in each quadrant. This simple technique can help you stay oriented and navigate effectively in any situation. Remember, whether you are in the northern or southern hemisphere, the time of day plays a crucial role in determining your direction of travel based on the sun's daylight arc. In the northern hemisphere, if you are traveling before noon, and the sun is directly in front of you, you are traveling more or less in a southeasterly direction, and if traveling after midday, it's more or less in a southwesterly direction. Similarly, in the southern hemisphere, if traveling before noon and the sun is directly in front of you, you are traveling more or less in a northeasterly direction, and if traveling after midday, then it's more or less a northwesterly direction. Then, there is the moon. This mysterious world whose true name remains a mystery to us, considering that we have given names to the moons of other planets, and we just call ours the moon, is always there and yet sometimes not there, and depending on when you look at it, it is the same, yet always changing, and to deepen the mystery even more, it is believed to have a dark side which we never see, or have yet to see. For now, let's forget all the mystery and keep things simple for the sake of prepping. Since, whether you live in the northern or southern hemispheres, you now know the sun's daylight path across the sky, the moon can also serve as a helpful navigation tool. Although the moon's orientation changes depending on the time of night and the phase of the moon, observing the position and orientation of the illuminated side of the moon relative to the horizon, and the sun's known path across the sky, can help you determine cardinal directions. The general rule is that the illuminated side of the moon always faces the sun, and that between sunset and midnight, the bright side of the moon points west, while between midnight and sunrise, the bright side points east. For example, if the illuminated side of the crescent moon is facing west, you can infer that the sun is setting in the west, and likewise, if the illuminated side of the crescent moon is facing east, it indicates that the sun is rising in the east. However, it is important to note that the moon's position in the sky can vary throughout the night and over different phases of the lunar cycle. Therefore, while this method can provide a general guide or rough estimate for direction, it may not always be precise. Navigation using the stars can be challenging, especially if you're not familiar with various star constellations. Visibility of constellations will also play a vital role in identifying the stars you're seeking. Another factor to consider is your location and how the constellations appear to you when observing the night sky. When you need to use stars to estimate cardinal directions, there are two basic methods to consider. The North Star, or Polaris, serves as a reliable reference point in the northern hemisphere. Located in the Ursa Minor constellation, commonly known as the Little Dipper. It's called the Little Dipper because the 7 stars resemble a small water dipper. The tip of the Little Dipper's handle points to the North Star, and locating the Little Dipper allows you to easily spot the North Star. But, be cautious to distinguish between the Little Dipper and its mirror image constellation, the Big Dipper. If the Little Dipper is not visible but the Big Dipper is, you can use the Big Dipper to find the Little Dipper. The Big Dipper contains stars known as pointer stars that can lead you to the North Star. These pointer stars are located at the side of the bowl farthest from the handle's tip. Imagine a line extending from the pointer stars 5 times the distance between these pointer stars. The end of this line will lead you to a bright star. This is the North Star. Even if the North Star is not visible due to clouds or obstacles, it remains at the end of this imaginary line. Following this point will lead you due north. Conversely, moving in the opposite direction will take you southward. The Southern Cross, also known as Crux, is a prominent constellation in the southern hemisphere, serving as a valuable navigational aid. Unlike the North Star, the Southern Cross does not align precisely with the South Pole. However, it still provides a reliable reference point for determining direction in the southern hemisphere. The Southern Cross consists of 4 main stars arranged in the shape of a cross, with 2 brighter stars forming the longer axis and 2 fainter stars forming the shorter axis. To find the Southern Cross, look for a distinctive kite-shaped pattern formed by its 4 main stars. A helpful prompt for identifying the Southern Cross is the pointer stars method. Look for 2 bright stars nearby, Alpha and Beta Centauri, which point toward the Southern Cross. By following the line formed by these pointer stars to the Southern Cross, you can orientate yourself and determine southward direction. The longest axis of the cross points roughly toward the south celestial pole, providing a general indication of south. At the end or bottom of this line you will find one of the brightest stars in the Southern Cross, known as Alpha Crucis or Acrux, which is particularly useful for navigation as it points toward the south celestial pole. To determine due south using the Southern Cross and the pointer stars, first locate the Southern Cross constellation in the night sky. Next, find the 2 bright pointer stars, Alpha and Beta Centauri, which point toward the Southern Cross. To find due south, imagine drawing an imaginary line from the top star through Acrux, the bottom star of the Southern Cross. Then, draw another imaginary line from the center between the 2 pointers, Alpha and Beta Centauri. Where these 2 lines intersect in the sky, you'll find an approximate location for the south celestial pole. Finally, draw a line downwards from the intersection point toward the horizon. The point where this line touches the horizon will give you a general indication of due south. Keep in mind that this method provides a rough estimate and may vary depending on factors such as time of year and your specific location. Before the compass needle pointed north, before maps charted the corners of the world, there was the sky, a vast canvas of navigational markers, guiding travelers toward their destinations. In this modern age, where technology often obscures the natural world, turning our gaze upward to navigate by the sun, moon, and stars is both a skill and a statement. It is a declaration not only of independence, but also of self-confidence. As a prepper, before you reach for a compass or consult a GPS, remember the power of the sun to chart the day, the phases of the moon to illuminate the night, and the stars to guide your way through the darkness. These are the original signposts, the first maps, and the earliest guides. From them we learned to navigate the world with self-taught confidence and ability. Again, learning these basic navigation skills will add to your resilience toolbox, and most certainly, this skill will make you move in the right direction when things around you really go south.
Subscribe to the South African Prepper. Like and share my videos with your family, friends, and colleagues, since we are all in this together. Here you get real information, and fact-based insights and guidance. I don't do opinion or BS. Preparedness is not a hobby. It is a way of life that could save your life.